I was completely unprepared for the impact that adoption would have in my life. I had heard stories from many people that I knew that had walked through adoption. I had heard the good and the bad. But for me personally, I had no idea the amount of triggers that would come out of my heart when we were in the process of bringing a new child into our home. I won't go into details of how the adoption came about and all these different things, and I would like to correct myself. I would say failed adoption, and I'll get more into that, but we brought a 7-year-old, I believe he was 7 at the time, into our house. His father had passed away and his mother was not involved in the picture. Into our home, we really felt like, and still do at the end of the day, felt like God was asking us and nudging our hearts to bring him into our home. At the same time, I had just found out that I was pregnant with my 5th child, Joseph, and our 4th, and this is our 5th baby, so our 4th and 5th baby were 14 months apart. So I was just past the first trimester, so I was like 4 months pregnant with Joseph. My parents were in the process of getting divorced, which was a shock and a surprise to me. And then we bring in this child into our home, this little boy, this sweet little boy. And we had him in our home for a year. We had plans to adopt him. God had other plans, and we didn't realize it. Looking back, I wish I would have known that we were just going to have him for a year. That would have completely changed our perspective of the situation. We did so many things wrong. Like, there are so many things that my husband and I did wrong in the process. I could sit down and go through the list and just tell you everything that we did wrong. But I'm not going to focus on what we did wrong, because I've been through that season. I went through months and months of beating myself up and tearing myself apart for all the mistakes we made. But I want to share that, adoption is a beautiful thing. It is, and it's still in our hearts. My perspective has changed about it. I definitely have a deeper heart to support people who are going through it, because it is intense. It is a lot, especially if you already have children in your home, biological children. I would like to put out there that if you are considering adoption, the thing that in all my sleepless nights of thinking and having dreams about it, and the regrets and the sleepless nights and all these different things, the biggest thing I wish I could have told myself back before we had brought him into our home was count the cost. Count the cost, and do you have the tools to do this? And for me, I look back and I look at myself and I say, no, I did not have the tools. I had no idea that what we were about to walk into, and the things that the Lord wanted to deal with inside of my own heart. I wasn't in a place in my life to look past my own hurts and my own needs. And it was very difficult to love a child in my lack, if that makes sense. And so walking into adoption, I would say, do your research and make sure that you can't be perfect going into a situation. But I would say, make sure that you're in a healthy place. Make sure that your marriage is in a healthy place. Make sure that your relationship with your biological children are in a healthy place. Make sure that you're not pregnant. Not to say you can't be pregnant, but for me, that was a lot, because when I'm pregnant, I'm a completely different person. I'm not myself. And my last child, Joseph, was the hardest pregnancy, because my body was just super tired after having 5 babies. And so, because, when you bring a child into your house, you're not just bringing in that child, you're bringing in that child and with all of their stuff, with all of their good and bad from their generational stuff, their parents, their history, their hurts, their hangups. And one of the biggest things that was a challenge for us was kind of getting him into the flow of how we function as a family. That was very difficult because he was used to living life a certain way, and then we had our little, our just the way we function a certain way. And so trying to mesh those together was very, very hard. And now I see why, people want to bring newborns into their family, because I don't want to say it's easier because I've never experienced that. So it's not for me to judge or to say. But I will say that when you bring an older child in, they have their way of living, and you have your way of living. And it's, it's a big meshing that happens. And so I love adoption. I think that that's God's heart. And if there's anything that I could say to the little buddy when he gets older, is that I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I didn't have the tools to give you what you needed in that season. And I know that God is sovereign, and that he had it all orchestrated, because now he's with his, it all worked out. He's with a wonderful family, about an hour away with his biological family on his mother's side. But the biggest thing is, I would say, count the cost and have a huge support team around you. There are so many people that were in my life and in my corner that I would not have been able to get through the dark nights of trying to swim through the currents of all of his emotions and all the things he was grieving and all the hurts and hangups that he was struggling with without my friends and my support unit that were there to bring me meals, or to help me with my laundry, or to, talk me off of the cliff when I'm so stressed out, and all the different stuff. And those are the biggest things, is count the cost and make sure that you have a support unit. Like I said, adoption is a beautiful thing, and that is God's heart. And I believe that the Lord will lead us when our family is stronger, and our bio kids are older, into that season. But for now, it's not the season for us. So thank you guys for listening. If you haven't, please subscribe to my channel below.